Chris McLean is the devil walking the earth, and the military is trying to stop him. This is just one of the realizations that comes from an incredible discovery I've made. See, I have figured out that the animal curse which hit DJ in Total Drama World Tour was not only real and by design, but is connected to some of the biggest mysteries in the show. Izzy's behavior, the producer's secret plans, and most incredibly of all, Ezekiel turning into a feral animal zombie. It's all linked together, and there's something even deeper here that goes back to the show's first episode. Get your popcorn, hold on to your shorts, because you're about to have your mind blown to pieces by these 3 shots! Hello. I'm the Theorizer. This has been years in the making, and I'm pretty sure I've solved the entire show with this one little connection. Here's how. In the first episode of World Tour, the contestants either have to go through the pyramid in Egypt or over it. There are 3 notable things that happen inside. 1. Izzy finds a bunch of mummy fabric and asks her friends to wrap her up. Then she freaks them out. 2. Ezekiel, all alone, presses a button and has some fabric and artifacts land on him, which he for some reason wraps himself with. And 3. DJ accidentally crushes a mummified dog, gets attacked by scarabs, and then becomes convinced for the remainder of the season that he has been cursed with hurting animals because of it. It's the whole big plot line. He destroys his whole team. You'll notice that these 3 characters interacted a little too closely with the pyramid's sacred contents, and I have full reason to believe that the mummy materials not only cursed them, but that Chris intended for this to happen, and it all reveals the truth about his past, and even that is only the beginning. So we'll go DJ, Izzy, Zeke, and then the bombshell that cracks the entire series wide open. Brace yourself. First, what do we know about the pyramid and DJ's exact situation? If we can sort of get a grasp of this curse, then we can get to the root of this. Alright, so he crushes the mummified dog, and then each episode that follows has him accidentally harming animals over and over again. He squishes a baby panda, injures seagulls, turtle, goats, seals, and monkeys in the episodes that follow. By the time they get to France, he's basically a nervous wreck, and almost his whole team has been eliminated, to which he blames himself. He finds another mummified dog in the Louvre Museum, and he plans to return it to its rightful burial site, hoping to get rid of the curse, but he gets chased down by the victimized animals and it's destroyed. By who? Take a wild f***ing guess. Soon, he's the last one on his team, and Heather sees an opportunity to manipulate him. So does Alejandro, actually. Heather helps DJ find a fish with an Egyptian symbol on it, and when DJ kisses it for the challenge, she tells him that the curse should be lifted as he showed the gods respect. Truth is, though, Alejandro drew the symbol on that fish, and he believes that the curse is entirely in DJ's head. DJ adopts the fish and names it Irene, but in the following episode, Alejandro reveals the truth, and immediately, DJ starts losing everything. He crashes into a ton of animals, gets eliminated, swarmed by fire ants, and then forced to face all of the animals all over again in the Aftermath show. So it would seem as though this curse was fake, right? Everyone, this curse is real. This sounds crazy to anyone who isn't aware of exactly what's going on with the producers of this show. But if you've been with me for a while, you'll know that my other discoveries make this 100% legit. You see, the producers, mainly Chris, control the whole show to manipulate the narrative for better ratings. I've discussed this many times. Chris is so extreme that he's a flat-out sociopath, and Chef is there to kind of balance him out at this point. Really though, every little piece of the show is meddled with. This is why Heather lasted so long in season 1, for the complete and total drama. Chris doesn't shy away from admitting that he tampers with everything, and even when both Heather and Alejandro do their manipulations regarding DJ, he's standing right there, praising their evil. Chris is in control, but the reason I'm bringing this up again is because when the plane explodes near the end of the season, all of DJ's animal victims come rushing out of the cargo hold alongside Ezekiel himself. This means Chris literally kept them there and planted what he needed when he needed it. The whole curse is a setup, and Blaney also reveals that the Aftermath show just has them waiting there for him again. But this isn't what I'm getting at, obviously. We know Chris messes with things. The thing is, though, this time, it's not just physical tampering. Right, so after my theories on the producers, I posted this banger. In fact, it's my most recent theory on the show, and in it I cracked the more supernatural side of things and proved that the ghosts, aliens, spirits, demons, and all the crazy shit in Total Drama are in fact real, because Boney Island and Wawanakwa as a whole are a gateway to hell. There is so much evidence for this, and this is why, the military is so involved with Chris and why Chef keeps the lid on him like he's some kind of demon. Now, when it comes to DJ's curse, no, I don't just think that the producers are placing things where they need to be. I think they've legitimately cursed DJ and knew all of this would pan out in one way or another when they sent the contestants into that pyramid. I strongly believe that this is all a part of the same thing. The physical tampering, the metaphysical tampering, in short, the producers did this, and DJ is cursed. But wait, you say, DJ got over his curse when he thought it was fixed. Well, guess what? No, it is still partly in his head, but not in the way you think. He kissed a McLean family fish with an Egyptian symbol on it. That's a sign of respect, fake or not. Notice how he gained extraordinary physical abilities after doing so, too. What really gets me, though, is that in spite of his nerves coming back later on, and in spite of Alejandro's racetrack sabotage, there is no way this wasn't on purpose, because there's a motherfucking walrus suddenly on top of a racetrack in Jamaica. Don't even get me started on how they later eject him onto a bed of fire ants. This is all on purpose, with direct and supernatural influence, and DJ is suffering for their ratings. Something similar happens in the Redonkulous race with a lava rock artifact. These curses are real. These producers are vicious, and as promised, this solves everything else, because guess what? If this pyramid is our conspiracy nexus, then it immediately would solve the other two most insane mysteries from Total Drama as well. Izzy. 6 years ago, I determined that she's not crazy at all. She's manipulating everyone so she can get the money, but more importantly, so she can torment everyone because she's a stone-cold psychopath. She lies almost constantly, she has an extremely high IQ, and she often skips out on challenges so she can jump ahead without being eliminated along the way. She uses alternate personas as scapegoats. She excuses her madness as Kaleidoscope. She excuses her destruction as Explosivo and uses Brainzilla to funnel her IQ, but it's all fake. My theory got just under 1 million views in total and was spread around the internet like wildfire. You may have even seen that Izzy Isn't Crazy conspiracy video in which someone scanned through the entire show episode by episode to confirm my outrageousness even further. And yet, the one thing I could never determine was exactly why. Why, beyond being evil and sadistic, would she do all this to everyone? She doesn't even really want the money in the end, and she goes a step further too. She has the supernatural abilities. She can see into Mike's soul. When she asks, "Who's Mel?" She invents time travel, she's wanted by all the world's governments, she disappears, reappears, has incredible physical skills. She gets mutated long before the season 4 cast does, and she hypnotizes Owen into falling in love with her, with that rattlesnake dance. This all comes to a head when she mocks the mummies by dressing in their attire and then crushes DJ's dog. The answer? She is cursed. What's more is I believe that she was cursed by the animals before the show even began, and this scene is not her being re-cursed, but rather her mocking what has already happened. You see, from day one, Izzy flawlessly mimics giant bears, giant spiders, hypnotic rattlesnakes, foraging beavers, howling wolves, tunneling prairie dogs, and she gets ultimately eliminated in the Animal Hunting Challenge. She also gets briefly eliminated in Wink Wink, the Boney Island Challenge in Season 1, where afterwards she runs off into the forest and says she spent ages out there with the animals. Mysteriously, when Eva tries to reveal the real truth, Izzy silences the hell out of her. This pattern set, this curse, this animal vengeance is built into the show on a much deeper level than you might assume at first glance. I did cover this a bit in that Boney Island video. The supernatural moon, all of the quote-unquote mutation, and the smart crazy animals of Camp Wawanakwa, it all comes down to the fact that this island is on top of a gateway to hell that's at the bottom of the mine shaft. It's wild, and yet almost certainly true. We haven't even gotten to the mine-dwelling, animalistic hell spawn that is Ezekiel, and it's all coming together. Izzy never spent time with the nature reserves as she claims. She has 2 audition tapes. She has been targeted by the military since her birth. The same military that Chris is friends with, the same military that takes her away in the same episode of World Tour that DJ gets eliminated in, the same military that chased her down because she's one of several innate subjects of the Luciferian regime. You will understand what exactly I'm talking about because of Ezekiel. He's clueless and bizarre from day 1 of the series, but in World Tour, after he gets wrapped in the fabric, what happens? He is rendered immortal. He clings to the show like Gollum, desperate for the $1 million. In line with the animal curse, he hides in the cargo hold and, quote, homeschools with the rats. His last, even vaguely human moment is when Chris forces him to be Jack the Ripper, which he's quite good at. He gets more and more malnourished, but doesn't die because of what happened to him in Egypt. And believe me, he should be dead. I haven't talked about this like 4 years ago or something. His health crisis is insane. His parents put up missing posters, but their son is no longer their son. He's an abomination, a demonic entity that is less than human, on par with only the most feral of animals. This is not a coincidence. You see, what lands on him in particular is an Ankh staff. This is the Egyptian symbol for eternal life! It did this to him. He lands in a fucking volcano in the finale and survives. He gets trapped in a collapsing mine twice and survives. He gets mutated beyond repair while in proximity to the Hell Gate and becomes lead commander of the giant rats and mutant freaks of where? Boney Island. The animal curse. But I'm claiming his immortality came from the pyramid. What about all the weird moments he has before World Tour? What about when the boat just slides past and he immediately appears? Chris all consoling him, his clueless insults towards Eva, his freaky prairie past. Who is Ezekiel? And Izzy, based on everything she said about her past, she must have been abducted by aliens. She's invented time travel. She has lie detectors implanted into the back of her neck. What does she know? And what in the ever-loving is a Luciferian regime? The truth of Total Drama Island about Camp Wawanakwa is that it's not just a portal to hell. It's also where all of the contestants came from in the first place. When the mining operation went sideways, they fractured a hole in the sacred caverns of Boney Island and stabbed through the gates of hell, setting free dozens of damned souls who sat on the fringes of the satanic plane. They shot out and were reincarnated into the world. In a bid to return all of these tortured souls to hell, the military creates a television program designed to maximize drama and draws in Satan himself to run it. They meticulously screen and vet all of the applicants to track down the hell souls and air it live to attract the masses. Izzy's great-grandmother Mavis was the first to be flung Mach 1 from the portal to her own descendant. Izzy states this as fact. Following suit is Ezekiel. Who is he? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe Ezekiel is none other than Jack the Ripper, tortured in hell for his crimes against women and flung at Mach 1 from the Wawanakwa portal into a homeschooled farm child of central Canada. He is closer to his torment and truth than anyone except maybe Izzy. This is why he can phase in and out like Izzy. This is why he can jump around with parkour like Izzy. This is why he's almost feral to begin with like Izzy. And in a sickening twist of fate, he is strangled by the very sort of woman he strangled in his past life and then forced to replay his own demise by Satan on national television in his hometown of London. Thanks to Izzy and Ezekiel's slips, we can infer the truth about every single one of these contestants. It's not that they're just psychologically messed up, as I previously claimed. It's that they are where they belong. Each of them is the clueless rebirthing of one hell soul or another, one famous dictator, one famous evil something or another, drawn back into their own fate out of desperation to be famous again. They are being gathered up by the military and presented to their warden in a bid to detract Chris away from destroying the world at large. This is why they cannot and do not leave. This is their contract. The sickening paranormality of Boney Island seeps into everything and mutates the island while they're away, resulting in demonic creatures that torture the next set of would-be suckers. Satan births babies with Cerberus in the form of absolutely disgusting humanoid flytraps, and the animal curse grows stronger than ever, meaning the Egyptian pyramid isn't evil, it's just warning us of what has already happened. As for the military's perspective, they're in full panic mode. They send their strongest militant to get as close as utterly possible. Chef Hatchet, his job is to service Lucifer in as many ways as he can see fit, so as to bar the forces of evil from annihilating Earth. Chris is best friends with the Area 51 military, and they gleefully team with aliens to torment Owen, spawn of gluttonous sin. They also abduct and chip Izzy, as she more than willingly testifies, which is interesting because Alejandro, who survives everything satanically like the fire and the robot and the rebirth, hypnotizes Owen, who gets chipped by aliens like the rattlesnake dance, and it's Owen. Anyways, I do believe they also chip her again, following the Boney Island challenge. The government is desperate, you see, after unleashing Pandora's box, and they're trying to reverse their fatal mistake by begging Izzy for infinite time travel, and Grandmaster Chef is their singular trap card. Well, except for one other agent. Mildred Stacy Andrews O'Halloran, codenamed Blanley, is at the core of all their sociological operations, fully invested in the lives and backstories of these reincarnated spirits. Her knowledge is a fact. She allies directly with Chef during the events of World Tour, and Satan punishes the man by encasing him with thick outerwear in the dry heat of the African savannah, as close to hell as Earth can manage. For her crimes against the satanic conquest, Blanley's bones are crushed to pieces by parachute omission in a sickening twist of mockery as a living mummification. She is then used and abused by an animal that seeks a relationship nearly as disturbing as that of the flytraps, and we see it over and over and over again. It's disturbing. It's in the corner of shots. Reality TV is a stage, a medium of demonology for the militaries of the world, infested with spies designed to placate the satanic force of Chris McLean. It was her last words. She was seconds away from revealing the truth, and cutting her off like Izzy did Eva, we get the biggest clue of suspicion yet.
They wanted me to host the show. You only got the job because I said no and... Is it really quiet in here all of a sudden?
You better believe it. Because not only is it consistent with all the clues characters drop and the mysteries they leave dangling, but it also makes perfect poetic sense. If you have any comments about it, evidence or otherwise, do leave it, but please, more than anything, if you're not subscribed, do make sure to click the button. I really need to hit 1 million, especially after this. You have no idea the unspeakable things I've put myself through piecing this together. Now check out all my other Total Drama theories. I will link them, go on a binge maybe, because everything makes so much sense. This connects to my Mike theory. They're all demons. The Dawn theory, Heather theory, Sierra being in Area 51. Ella might have something of an answer now. I need to tie in Alejandro and the many loose ends, and of course the show rebooted because of what I said in my Scarlet theory, but for the time being, join my Patreon if you want updates on this. I should hopefully get around to binging all the episodes again as promised, but the Patreon is slowly becoming my main motivator, people. Coming soon, theories on the Lorax, Matilda, and of course, the big ones. Patrons get them early on Discord, and as always, until next time, I'm the Theorizer.
And the extra special thanks to Plasmite and Quantum Server.